Good evening and welcome to this evening's edition of The Rush. My name is Randolph Critchlow. I want to say thank you very much to those persons who are joining us internationally in the region and right here in Guyana. Thank you very much for your continued support of the program as we continue to bring you credible and valid information every evening. Let me say good evening to those persons joining us from all over internationally in the region and right here in Guyana. Uh, it is indeed a sad occasion that we join you this evening. Uh, Quite a sad day for the coalition family, and we bring to you sad news. Of course, many of you would have already uh, read about it throughout the day that the communications director at the leader of the opposition office, an AFC member, Mr. Imran Khan, who was battling COVID in the ICU, would have passed this morning. Quite a sad day for all of us. And we, of course, here at The Rush extend our deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and those persons who are close to him. It is especially difficult for me at this moment because uh, Imran was a good friend. And let me just say from the beginning, this news this morning really crushed my spirit. Uh, Imran was a very good friend, a confidant, uh, a partner in politics, and someone who is always full of ideas, always energetic, always full of life, always full of ideas, and extremely resourceful. I remember meeting Imran in 2015 as we were preparing for elections. This after he came back, I think from Antigua, with his job at the WICB. And that was the first time I had interaction with him, and I found his energy so so appealing, and he really got you feeling like, you know what, you are ready to do this, we are ready to win this election, because he was just so energetic and full of life and full of ideas. I remember being in a meeting with Imran Khan as we were or we were talking about what would be the theme for the 2015 elections, and it was Imran who had suggested the theme, "It is time." And we were all around the table, and he said he liked he liked this idea that say it is time, because he was telling us about a story with his grandmother, and what brought him to this idea of it is time, and it is time became the theme of our 2015 campaign. So this is what I really remember of Imran. Always full of ideas, always full of energy, and nothing but good vibes. Nothing but good vibes. So I am extremely saddened today. Extremely saddened at the passing of a comrade. Let me bring in MP Natasha Singh Lewis. As you remember, Imran this evening. Natasha, good evening to you, and welcome to this very somber episode of The Rush this evening. As you remember, our brother Imran, that who would have passed today. Natasha, I knew Imran. We all knew Imran, and we all knew that he was close to everybody. He was always so um, professional with everyone, and I know it is a really hard time. Tell us, what are your thoughts this evening, Natasha? I know how hard it must be.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. And that simply means from Allah we have come and to Him we will return. It is in the Quran that dictates that there is no untimely death. And so it's difficult for me knowing all of this and have to articulate how I feel. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive Imran make his rest in the grave easy for him. I say that because Imran was a good person. We would have seen the outpour today on Facebook, and people all across Guyana, all across the Caribbean, and internationally would have reached out, and they had only good things to say about Imran. And I want to refer to Sharad's post today. And Sharad could not have said one word less or one word more that describes Imran. He was loving, he was caring, he was respectful. But when he had an idea, and he always had an idea, he was strong about his ideas. And he doesn't give up. Randy, you know that he doesn't give up easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you know that about Imran, it makes you want to question what has happened with Imran. Because
Yeah.
from the very first day he went into the COVID hospital, he was fighting. And when
Yeah.
he sent all of us those messages, for me, it's personal because he and I were having a different kind of conversation. And I was preparing him for that day when it comes, it should be easy for him to go to his makeup. And he responded so positively. The
Yeah.
last message he sent to me is that he's stable and he's comfortable.
Yes.
And so, Randy, it is particularly difficult for me, knowing all that I know, to express how I feel today. I will still question knowing what happened to Imran, knowing that he died and there is no untimely death. I still want to know how and what happened. And like the thousands of people who supported Imran, they too want to know what happened to Imran. And I
Yeah.
think this nation should be made aware of what happened, in particular on Monday night, because I know that Imran communicated with us
Yeah.
on Monday evening. And so we need to know what happened to Imran on Monday night.
Yeah,
We
and
need,
for those persons who are looking on, whilst Imran was in the ICU, he did communicate with us. We messaged with him on Sunday, during the day and in the evening, and he of course put that Facebook post out there. He thanked those persons who were praying for him, and this was on Sunday. Uh, and of course, there was communication between Imran and his colleagues on Monday. Persons would have reported that they spoke to him on Monday. So, understanding uh, why this is such a surprise to persons, because they're under the opinion that he was doing better and he was getting better. So, it is a real sad occasion to see now this sudden turn of events. And of course, we haven't gotten any information as to what happened between uh, Monday morning and and Tuesday morning to really confirm what happened. And of course, we're waiting on that. Of course, we hope that we'll be able to get some clarity on that. But Natasha, I understand, and this is with all of his colleagues, and I would have extended invitation. The leader of the opposition will be here in just a few moments to give his condolences also. But Natasha, how was Imran as a colleague and as a professional?
Randy, Imran, in Guyana, we use the term, the colloquial term, the person that got your back.
Yeah.
Imran was, in a sense, that person to me because when I joined um, the parliament and I looked around, he was the only Muslim around me. And so he knew what are the guiding principles of a Muslim woman. And so from time to time, when I'm asked to do certain things, and I would just step back and say, no, I knew in a smaller circle, Imran was the person who says, no, you can't ask MP Lewis to do that because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so he was that person who looked out for me. He
Yeah.
knew what was supposed to be. And so we shared a different kind of relationship. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I will always remember about Imran is that he was very respectful.
Yes.
He never, in my situation, he never overstepped. In a larger gathering, he had an opinion, he stated his opinion clearly and supported it. And it never mattered to Imran if you oppose him because he was always sure that he can convince you to be on his side.
Yeah.
And he did that at any length.
Yeah. Definitely. True. As um, Sherrod summed it up best. He was precise. He was strong in his convictions, and he was well read. So let me at this point in time invite Ms. Zima Ragabir, who of course is the president of the Guyana Press Association, into our program. Ms. Zima, good evening.
Good night. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Though we can't see you, we
Okay,
can hear
great.
you.
Yes, I would prefer to be off camera. I'm very
Okay.
well aware that this is a political platform, but it would be an insult to my friendship with Imran
Yeah.
for over 25 years not to speak about the person who was not the politician. Everybody of recent would have known him as the politician. I would like to speak of Imran, the person I knew, the lover of food, the lover
Yes.
of culture, the lover of books. Imran and I bonded a couple of years simply over food. I will get back to that just now. I just wanted to say how we met. I was new in the media. Imran was somebody that had a mailing list. They used to refer to him as the media critic. He was a fierce critic of the media and how reporting was being done. There were a lot of learning experiences out of that. He never gave up an opportunity to embrace technology. So he was one of the very first persons I remember with a blog. He was on Twitter back in the days when Twitter was new. We actually used to have these little Twitter limes with a couple of the Guyanese that used to be on Twitter.
Yes.
And he embraced this type of technology and this information platform to the best of his ability, and he encouraged the use of it. I do believe he got me a copy of Dwight York's book a couple of years ago. Dwight York
Okay.
is the Tobagonian
Yeah.
footballer who
Footballer.
went on to
Yeah.
play, yeah, in England and so on. And he wrote a
Yeah.
book, and I think Imran knew. I either tweeted about it that I wanted to read, about Dwight York, and he got me the book. Let me talk about his love for food.
Yes.
Listen, cook up curry, black pudding, sauce. Up till last year, he messaged me about finding the blue shop in Church of God Road, where I go to buy black pudding and sauce ever so often. And he wanted the direction to find it. And he would also, from time to time, tell me, look, I find somebody in this part of the town or the city that I sell a good black pudding, check it out. Or I had this cook up or something, down here, must check it out. And
Yeah.
that is the type of friendship I recall and the sort of interaction I recall with Imran over the 25 years that I've known him. The
Yeah.
politician is something that probably he had been working on it for quite a while, but I only came to know that part of him within the last probably 6 years or so on. But politics does not get in the way of good friendship.
Of
And,
course.
I want to say my condolences to his family, his mom. I know he praised her a lot over the years, and his relationship with his wife, is one to be admired, and he will truly be missed.
Yeah. Nazima Ragabi, they're giving her condolence. Nazima, thank you very much for that. And I know that those persons who know Imran know his love for food, love for cricket, and his love for
Indeed, yeah.
communication.
I didn't tell.
Yeah,
I don't know much about cricket. Let me admit. But yes, he was a lover of cricket. Thanks for
yeah.
having me. Good night.
Thank you very much for coming on, Nazima. Great. Nazima Raghavi there, Natasha. Of course, very involved with the media. He was the director of public information when the APNU AFC was in power. So, of course, he was in the media. He interacted with the media people, and I'm happy that the president of the Guyana Press Association would have thought it fit to come and give her 2 words on Imran Khan. As we continue, Natasha, I see we have a few other persons,
Yeah.
um, not necessarily identified by name, but I want to invite them into the program now. Um, when you come in, you can probably just identify yourself and um, let us know and make your contribution. I don't think this person is ready.
Randy, we have to acknowledge Imran as the egg ball man,
Yes, yes,
Eggball
yeah.
man, and Uncle Hassan, big grandson.
And to Uncle
He was
Hassan, big
always
grandson.
proud of that.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, it's on his profile.
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
always boasts of himself being Uncle Hassan, big grandson.
Yeah, and the outpouring today, Nazima, um, Natasha, too many ends. Natasha, with the, I saw his Facebook page inundated with these persons who were, recounting their time with Imran, and it calls for a whole lot of strength from those persons who are close to him, his colleagues, his friends, his family. And we know that his wife, last report that I got, that she was still, right? She was still in the hospital, and we wish her a speedy recovery, right? Let's see if we can get the leader of the opposition on. I think we have to bring him in by phone, right?
Okay.
But we want to be able to give him an opportunity to say a few words. We'll bring him in just a few. As we remember, folks, if you're now joining us, we're just going through a session where we talk about our comrade who would have passed today, and Natasha and I will go into a bit of other things in a bit, because there is a question to be asked about the Delta variant in Guyana. And we need to have that conversation about the Delta variant, the acknowledgement that the Delta variant is here, and the reaction that should be had by the government of the day as it relates to ramping up what they're doing, and the restrictions on movement and the restrictions on activities in the country, as a result of understanding that the Delta variant is much more aggressive, and the viral load that it puts in your body is much greater. So again, we encourage persons to take precautions. Take precautions. Let me see if I can get the leader of the opposition on. Sorry. Hi. Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening, Randy.
Good evening, and welcome to the program. Let me just say to those persons who are now joining us, we are going to be chatting with the leader of the opposition, Mr. Hammond. It is indeed a sad occasion that we are here this evening, and we are having this conversation. As you know, sorry, let me just sort this out. Yeah, um, our comrade Imran Khan would have passed, and I know you put a statement out there, but I'll give you opportunity this evening to say a few words at this
Yes,
sad occasion.
yes, thank you very much, Randy. And let me say that I'm indeed very saddened on the sudden passing of Imran. Imran and I shared a relationship from the time he came back from Antigua. Um, uh, and his duties with West Indies cricket. In fact, I just came out of a program with Andrew Mason in Barbados and the cricketing fraternity, Philo Wallace, and some other persons on a panel speaking about Imran's contribution. And so tonight I'm really a little bit emotional, Randy, about Imran, because Imran served when he came back from Antigua, came straight into our 2015 campaign.
Yes.
And he was working. In fact, he helped us craft that campaign communication strategy.
Yeah.
And he's very energetic. Sometimes I wonder where he gets that energy from.
Yes.
But Imran is the fastest person putting out a press statement. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anybody else can write as quick as he could.
Yeah.
And it came home to me so poignantly this afternoon. Well, in fact, this morning when I decided that we needed to put out a statement. Usually Imran is the sort of go-to guy. Yeah. I would say, Imran, we need to put out a statement, and these are some of my thoughts. And then it occurred to me, I said, well, it's Imran I'm actually talking about now.
Yeah.
And he's no longer there.
Yeah.
So this is really it's a blow. It's a serious blow. He was our communications director in the office of leader of the opposition. As I said, I worked with him in the 2015 campaign. We got into government, and I worked with him in the Ministry of the Presidency.
Yeah.
He worked, of course, very closely with the Prime Minister, but we were all part of the same ministry. And so I got to know Imran a little better, and I knew that he was firm in some views which he held, and very aggressive when he believes that about something. Yeah. I think that he believes that the Guyanese people deserve a better shake.
Yes.
I think that he felt that justice and the good life for the Guyanese people, that his contribution to justice and that good life was basically being able to provide them with quality information on which they can understand how decisions are made and what decisions they can make for themselves. And I think that was the strength of his skill, that he was able to communicate. He was a great communicator.
Yeah.
And so I know that it will be a massive loss for the opposition, for all of Guyana, but for me personally, that sort of go-to guy to get the press conferences organized, prepare a press statement, do a draft, do this and do that.
Yeah.
And in no time.
Yeah.
He can be sometimes at the Harbor Bridge. I said, man, something has happened to me. He said, give me 5 minutes, I'll get my laptop. And it is there. So I will certainly miss him. I'll certainly miss him in our shadow cabinet meetings, where he was the secretary of our shadow cabinet, and can actually track information very quickly, would actually put out at the end of the meeting some decision points which had been made and what follow-up actions needed to be taken. So those are skills which are not easily, you don't easily find those types of skills nowadays. And he was a rare quality, and certainly it is something that Guyana will miss. It's not just about the opposition, but I think it's all of Guyana. The clarity with which, when he has to speak, that he speaks to issues. So all across the region. As I said, I was on a program tonight in Barbados, and all across the region, people were actually calling in and expressing their condolences.
Yeah.
In fact, Andrew Mason was saying that, Philo Wallace, I think, was saying this afternoon, he was traveling on a bus in Barbados, and he said when he saw this news on his phone, he missed two of the stop he should have come off at. He missed two. And there was a lady behind him that said to him, but Mr. Wallace, you've passed the stop. Mm-hmm. He said, oh my gosh. I didn't even recognize that, because this is a very shocking piece of news they have.
Yeah.
So I know that Imran will be missed for so many things, but
Yeah.
I think most importantly to us is his ability to organize, his ability to communicate,
Yeah.
and his ability to use information in a very positive way,
Yeah.
so that people understand and make better decisions for themselves,
Yeah.
and they're better able to understand how governments function and whether the governments are basically serving them or serving themselves.
Yeah. I
So Imran will be sadly missed in
yeah.
that regard.
What I was Natasha and I were saying is, this energy and always filled with ideas. I remember 2015 campaign very well, at a room there
Yeah,
at the leader of the opposition office in Hatfield Street, when we were trying to come up with a
that's right.
theme. And out of that meeting,
Yeah,
if my memory serves me right, it was Imran who came up with the "It Is Time" theme that we ended up going with. And so that was my first interaction with him, but I was left with an impression of this person with a lot of energy and ideas, and just ready to get in there and work. And it is sad to see somebody like that leave us.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed. As I said, I was missing because that 2015 campaign, the 2020 campaign,
Yes.
the campaign for the recount,
Yeah.
Imran was a central figure in all of our communication, our planning, our strategy, and he was always about looking forward. Even now, as we are in the opposition, he was always planning how fast can we get rid of this installed regime.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we need to do? How do we need to connect with? What alliances do we need to make? And he would speak about these things, and within a day or half a day, you will get a document,
Yes.
something in writing,
Yeah.
so that you knew that he was not just talking out the top of his head, but that his ideas were well formed, and that he could have actually communicated in word as well as in writing. So I think that this is really a sad day for us, really a sad day.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show the way in which our our response to this COVID-19 is still woeful.
Yeah.
Um, it's still woeful. The communication which Imran had with the MPs in the WhatsApp chat about getting some fruits, the value of coconut water, and all of these things and so on. When somebody is like that, and I think there was some exchange between himself and Christopher Jones.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, a few hours later on, you hear the person has died. So it really says to me that we need to have a very closer look, maybe some sort of inquiry into the way in which the infectious disease hospital is being managed, and the kind of equipment that is there that's necessary to sustain life. I think right now they're making some terrible mistakes in the way this thing is being handled. Um, as soon as you hear that somebody has showed the signs, they go on there. So in fact, you can have people who are not infected that's mingling with persons who are infected, and so you have a larger spread.
Yeah.
This afternoon, I saw a message that CN Sharma had gone there.
Yeah.
And then I saw that his condition is not critical. So I'm saying, if his condition, why are you taking him there?
Yeah.
Why are you taking him there? So there's a lot to answer about the way in which this facility is being managed, and the way government is really utilizing the resources which have been allocated by the National Assembly for that purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't want to really take away from the tributes which we are doing to Imran, but since it was such a high-profile matter, I don't think that we can just allow this thing to slip. And so I think I needed to just make that point as well tonight, as we are paying tribute to Imran Mohammed Khan, that the better tribute that we can pay to him is for us to focus and get that facility working in a manner that will save lives.
Yeah.
That will save lives. And I think that will be a great tribute to Imran for the work he has done, and for all of the things that people, I saw an article today about his vaccination status and so on.
Yeah.
But I know that he was somebody who he believed in the vaccine, and nobody could tell me otherwise, because I knew it, and he was the person who was actually pushing our campaign when we were doing these public service announcements all across the country. But I knew he had said that, look, he has a condition which he needed to have properly checked out. And that was my position with every MP, everybody. That make sure you check with your doctor if you have a condition, and make sure that you check with your doctor before. And I understand that is what he did, and he was told he should take a particular type of vaccine, and that it was not available. This is what I am advised. So I can just say advisedly. But also, I think it is doing a disservice to his memory to actually take this view that, okay, because he did not take the vaccine, he succumbed. That might be a contributory factor, but I would not say that this was something that he deliberately decided against, or that he had something against. He has made it clear, he has spoken about it, he's written about it, and is actually just published in some of the newspapers here in Guyana, the view which he held about it. So I think that we need to clarify that, and at least let it be clear that he was not somebody who didn't believe in vaccines. He actually said that, I believe that this vaccine is important. But as a country, I believe that we should not just rest on the vaccine. The vaccine is a part of a system of measures which are important for us to deal with this pandemic. It allows us, once you're vaccinated, it basically gives you a greater chance of overcoming the virus if you're caught. It gives you a greater chance of surviving. But that cannot be the only measure. The other measures are just as important. And I think that as a country, we are just focusing too much, or almost everything, on the vaccine, and we forgetting all of the other measures which have been put in place and are recommended by the World Health Organization. And I think we need to remind ourselves, we need to remind the government, and that the education of our people about this pandemic is still woeful. We have still not taken this matter as a campaign and deal with it in a very serious way. And when people like Imran that are so close to home, when they succumb in this manner, it should make us even much firmer in our belief that the education of our people is that much more important. Imran was one of our educators. Imran was one of the persons who communicated, and definitely we will miss him. We will miss him. We will miss him in that regard. And personally, I felt it this morning when I heard the news, and I think all day I was just dazed, to tell you the truth.
Understandable, Mr. Harmon. And we want to say thank you very much, of course, for your statement early in the day and these sentiments. Now, Imran will definitely be missed, and we thank you very much for sending your condolences.
Yes. And as I said earlier, too, to Tamara, his wife, his mother, and family, the condolences I've already extended. I think tomorrow is the funeral.
The burial,
and the burial will be at Virgin Ocean, where he came from. And so we'll go there, and I'm sure all the other MPs and persons who knew him well and worked with him would find it necessary to be there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harmon, leader of the opposition, for your words. Great.
Right. Thank you very much, Randy, and a very good night to all the listeners.
Right. Thank you. Folks,
Bye-bye.
yes. There you had the leader of the opposition, Mr. Harmon, joining us there to send his comments. We're joined by another MP, Honorable Diana Ryan Ramsroop, AFC member. And of course, I want to get your thoughts. Of course, we call you Ricky. So your name is so long. I'll just call you what we call you, Ricky. MP
Thank
Ricky.
you. That's okay.
I want to get your thoughts. Of course, you would have worked with Imran in a much closer capacity as a party member. Your thoughts on what on today. What has played out?
Randy, first, it's kind of sad because we were communicating with him up to yesterday, and I'm a bit emotionally, so you just excuse me if I
Yeah,
start a
I
few words,
understand.
but I bothered him the second day, the third day after he went in there, and I was given advice because I was reading, I believe in my horrible stuff and so on. So
Hmm.
I saw this one with the onion and so on to put with the sugar and so on, and I sent it the instruction if somebody can get it to him and extract the juice within 4 to 6 hours with the sugar and the onion, it will help him to improve his breathing. Um, and also I sent one the broadleaf thyme to make the tea, so it'll help it to deoxidize his system.
Hmm.
And and the last one I said is one day I just wake up and I said, "Pray, brother, stay strong, focus." You understand? And I get up this morning and I start seeing the news. I mean, it's really a shocker, and there's not enough condolences and sympathies for the family and Tammy. I know Tammy's getting hard. I see both of them had this here. It's rough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Imran is a person. He's a go-getter, and I really thank our opposition leader there, Mr. Joseph Harmon, to express those sentiments,
Hmm.
and because he knows him well too. Imran Imran is a person. If he has to do it himself, he will do it himself.
Yeah.
If he has to run a campaign himself, which I see he did for our National Congress, he run his thing. He know to do his thing. He know to go about do his thing.
Hmm.
Um, despite what people will say and this and so on, but it doesn't matter what. Imran will fight a battle. I know in the cricket board he was fighting a battle. If he got to fight it, he alone he will fight it. That's how strong person and personal he is.
Hmm.
And that's what I keep telling him. Pray about a fight. That was my word to him when he was in the COVID center. I don't want to say COVID center anymore. You call it a kill center. That is what it is now.
Yeah.
There's
And
nothing.
I can understand your frustration,
I have no
MP.
apology, and I have as an MP, I controlling the word that's coming out of my mouth for the longest while.
Hmm.
You understand me? But it can't happen anymore because this is a rogue nation we in here, brother. It's a rogue nation. You understand me? Then I said people making comments about Imran made it quite clear he had a medical condition.
Hmm.
2 nights ago in Barbies, I launched a campaign to encourage people to vaccinate it. We are doing the same thing.
Hmm.
But the system and where the government is going about doing the thing is wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you will have this pressure because you're not including the opposition in the COVID task force. We have included them when we were in government at the COVID task force. So they
Yeah.
can't come around and then the news and people are making things about Imran this thing and then he had a medical condition and it's the same thing our opposition leader said. We all know this Imran was fully
Randy, I want to say,
opposition
I want
program.
to say personally,
Yeah.
sorry, Ricky,
Sorry, that's
that
okay. Brother.
that Imran would have spoken to me personally at our last meeting at the opposition office. We were talking about the vaccination cards. And I asked him, I said, "Are you vaccinated?" And he said, "No." So I said, "Man, what happened?" In a very soft way, he says, "Sis, I have a medical condition." He did not go on to say what that medical condition is. And so I want to bear testimony that Imran said this to me personally. And so when I saw newsrooms, cheap political mileage today, it really upset me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even even in debt, they have to take cheap political mileage by reporting false information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and,
No,
and,
but
and that's the kind of nation we live in today. Even
Natasha,
in debt, there is no respect.
yeah, and
go
I
ahead,
fully
Ricky.
agree with you. Fully agree with you, Natasha, because you know what? There's not. I know, and it's coming clearly. Like today, I put it on one on my colleagues, AFC colleagues, social media post. You understand me? When we were telling them on how we were managing this thing, try to flatten this curve.
Yeah.
Try to flatten this curve. They come and said that we are bluffing. We want to stay in the office and all these kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
we tell them about how to manage this thing, the COVID things, you have to go out there and tell the people the right information.
Yeah.
Up to now, look, let me tell you all this something here. And I want to say this. I'm sorry that we're dealing on this, but we have to tell it because we have to tell our viewers what they're doing wrong. The Delta variant is here, Randy.
Yeah.
What is are they launching a campaign against it? Are they going to close shut down, go back to 6 to 6? Why are they not doing it? What about the booster vaccine? They're not talking about these things, Randy.
Ricky, I'm gonna come to that because that's a conversation that we need to have, all four of us, before the show ends. But let me welcome in MP Maureen Philadelphia. Maureen, let's start with your thoughts on the passing of our comrade.
Good night, and thanks for having me.
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
saddened, and I'm saddened to the fact that it could have been me, you know, it could
Mm-hmm.
have been me. And while we would want to say condolences to his family, we also suffer because Imran was our comrade, Imran was our friend. I remember those moments when we were there for our meetings. You say good morning all, and in a nice friendly tone, Imran will respond, good morning MP Philadelphia, good
Mm-hmm.
morning MP Ferguson, good morning. And so those are moments that, of course, we cherished, and we will miss those moments. There's a relative of mine that is suffering in bed as a result of the vaccine. He was advised to take the first dose. He experienced difficulties thereafter, was advised to take the second dose, and today is a vegetable because of medical issues. He took the vaccine. Now, what is worrying, because of that experience with one family member, no other member of the family wants to take the vaccine. Is that to say persons don't want to take the vaccine? Persons are hesitant. And so while we would want to score cheap political points at the passing of a son of Guyana, a son of the soil, we need to take stock of ourselves and understand there may be several reasons why persons have not taken the vaccine. And so I say before and I say again, I am saddened because it could have been me. And so I would want to ask for those persons who are responsible to take stock of what is happening. Take stock of what is happening. And let's
Yeah.
work together to flatten the curve. COVID hit home and it's hitting harder than ever before. And so we need to really take stock of what is happening. I
Yeah.
saw somebody put something out there where that hospital was built by the coalition. And of course, someone said to me today, while we made it a big issue then when we had our first COVID case, while we also talk about Valda Lawrence, the honorable member, not being a medical doctor, today we can give her more than praises. Today we can more than glorify our efforts and our strategies being used because the numbers we've had then were very low. Today we have three health ministers in the form of Berry Ramsaran, Leslie Ramsamy, and Frank Anthony. And of course, COVID is once again in the Tokyo Olympic.
MP, let me jump in there because I think as you mentioned the work of the Ministry of Health, let me go to what MP Ricky had brought up, and I was having this conversation with MP Natasha before we came on. There seems to be a reluctance on the part of the government to acknowledge or even test to figure out whether or not we have the Delta variant here. The likelihood is very high that we have the Delta variant, and I'm going to give my opinion here. When Jamaica figured out that they had the Delta variant, they went on a 7-day lockdown. Nobody could have moved, nobody go anywhere, everything locked down. I believe that this government has put the health and wellness of Guyanese behind for the benefit of the business community, right? Understanding, of course, that a lockdown would affect their friends in the business community a lot. But they have not acknowledged, they have not even said anything tangible to the Guyanese people about whether or not this Delta variant is here, how aggressive this strain is, and what are the measures they are going to take. They have continued to act as if everything is normal. And that for me is scary. It tells me that they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Natasha? Your mic. Hold on. Your microphone. Hold on, Natasha. Your mic.
Randy, I want to take you back to March 2020.
Yes.
When we started putting systems in place and restricting movements, the PPP is on public record as saying that we want to kill the economy. You understand what that statement means then and now? Because we had a curfew that was 6 to 6. And so we had staff on rotation. We had staff, the emergency workers, they had to come out in rotation. We had staff working from home. We closed the ports. And so we were doing everything possible to minimize the situation. And folks,
finish off, MP. Finish off. Sorry.
and folks, when they accused us of killing the economy, this is exactly what they were talking about. The human capital of Guyana is no interest to the PPP. The vice president, the installed vice president, said very early that people will die. So if the restrictions in place yielded smaller numbers in deaths,
yeah,
and then you came in and you opened up all the borders, took out all the restrictions,
yeah,
and pretty much opened the country to everything, and then come to the nation and say that people will die. Analyze that situation for yourself. What is it that they're thinking? They knew exactly what was going to happen.
And they started thinking, MP, let me just jump in here quickly because I saw a comment by a Ramona de Rouche, or some name like that, that says, she's saying here, no lockdown, the vaccine is here, take it. And this is the sort of thinking and the sort of approach that the government has taken.
Yeah.
Understanding, Ramona, that even vaccinated persons are dying.
I have a relative who died.
Right. Fully vaccinated people are getting the Delta variant and they are dying too. So the vaccination is not a foolproof thing, Ramona. So, and that is sort of thinking that the government wants people to have. That's why they have abandoned their education drive and just forcing vaccination. but vaccinated people are dying also. So it's not a foolproof plan to force vaccination in everybody. And I wanted to say that because I saw this comment, which would have come from this idea that look, business got to go on, take the vaccine, and let's continue with our life. Which that is not working. That does not work around the world. MP, Ricky, you can jump in
Randy,
here. Go ahead.
Randy, I want to go back to something earlier. I don't know if you know this guy. His name was Majid Hussein from the PVP.
Yes.
He was one of the guardian of the democracy. Majid and I are good friends, really
Mm-hmm.
good friends. And he, when he succumbed to the COVID-19 viruses, we all sent our condolences.
Mm-hmm.
Never one day that nobody from our side write anything negative, neither our newscast about him. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't. So I want to just clear the air with this negativity things that they're trying with and this political thing. I just want to clear
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
want to show people the difference between the APNU AFC versus the PVP.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? I want to make that clear tonight.
Yeah.
You understand? And we as members here, we have encouraged, we have started this every single part, into the parliament we start to
Yeah.
encourage people to be vaxxed. You understand? We are talking here to every person here. And, we had Dr. Somar the other night on the Barbies TV talking about people of the vaccination and so on. And that is what we got to do. But when you come here and you wanted to talk and you're not putting the proper system in place, and Natasha is quite right. They have a system that they plan out already. And you know what the system is? And I want you to trace this back. We had a flood recently, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They got flood relief, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They got 240 something million US dollars that from COVID grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
The figures has to go up for these people that got money. So that is the way they govern. That's the way they think, Natasha. So you were quite right when they had a plan in place. That is what they have.
Yeah.
So you and I as guinea pigs, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. I want
Because
to
they
bring in.
always want money from overseas. That's how they want
Yeah.
the money. If you know that people are going to die, as you said, the vice president made a statement. What system do you have in place to ensure that that doesn't happen? And that is part of governments and governance that you are responsible for. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yes, I want to bring in MP Philadelphia here as we look at time. We have about 5 more minutes on the program. But when the vice president said that people will die, he would have in that statement agreed that lockdowns work because he prefaced the statement by saying, look, if people are locked in the house, they're not interacting with anybody, they wouldn't spread the virus. But if people come out and they do business, of course, a couple of people will die because you know interacting with people. That is a tacit acknowledgement that lockdowns and measures, restrictive measures work. And the leader of the opposition just said that the vaccine is not the cure-all. It needs to work in conjunction with you putting things in place to ensure that we restrict people's interaction until we beat it. But the government is unwilling to do this. Unwilling, and we all know that they have their business interests. MP Philadelphia, your thoughts?
Thank you, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from them being unwilling to put system in place so that they can have the vaccination and restriction working hand in hand, some careless statements will be made
Mm-hmm.
openly, and so those statements will say things like, one dose of vaccine is $20, but if you have to provide medical care for one person for 2 weeks, it will cost you so much more money, and then you have to think whether or not it's cost effective to keep a person alive than to give someone a vaccine. And so when the vice president said a person have to die, we need to understand that they're prepared to ensure that their friends and cronies keep up with their business so that they can have monies to do what they have to do. They care less about human lives. They
Yeah.
care less about human lives. And it's
Yeah.
all about the dollar sign. It's all about the dollar sign.
Yeah. That's a very sad, a very scary thing for me that this government would have played down. Whether or not they know the Delta variant is here, and we have not heard anything from the Minister of Health or the government in terms of acknowledging or even trying to figure out whether or not we have the Delta variant. Let me give the MP, starting with Natasha, an opportunity to wrap up as we, of course, reflect on the life of our comrade who will be laid to rest tomorrow. As your final thoughts, Natasha. The microphone.
Randy, thank you. I just want to share some wrap up information.
Yes.
We would have shared the information on Facebook for Imran's janaza tomorrow. His janaza would be at his mother's residence at Virgin Nugent, and viewing starts at 11 a.m. And that goes until 2 p.m. And at 2 p.m. is the janaza. Now, point to note that the janaza is a Muslim prayer. It's the final prayer that is said for the person, and that does not take more than 5 minutes. So at 2:05, everything is over. You know you want to go and pay your last respects to Imran and his family. Um, that would be done at Virgin Nugent from 11 to 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you very much, MP. MP Ricky, your thoughts? Final thoughts?
Um, Randy, thank you, and thank you, Natasha, for putting that out, and Maureen. Um, you know, wherever his soul is, he will find peace, eternal peace, because of the personality that he is. And I express my condolences to the family. There's not enough to express, but whatever it is, we will try our best to do. And he knows exactly that we will be doing this for him, because if it was me, he would have probably doing the same thing. I know he would have jumped on the wagon doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
That is the person that he is. So all those persons who wanted to view, of course, as Natasha said, they can join to view it. I don't know, Randy, if there's going to be anything alive to viewing or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
We will ensure that we organize that for persons who may want to be a
View it
part
online.
virtually. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So I
right.
want to thank you guys for this opportunity, Randy. I'm very happy that you put the program out and you focus on Imran. We really appreciate it. And on behalf of our Alliance of Change, our executive members, our management committee, and all our executive, we want to thank you guys very much for the support and what you guys are doing for Imran. Um, he's going to truly missed by all of us. And I want to say this finally, Randy, that we had a meeting recently, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was there battling with us.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, Natasha was there, and he's very strong on point. And then following day, we'd go back again. We got up to 11, 12 in the nights again. So he's a person he's there for when you call him. He'll be there responding. And he got so, as Maureen was saying, he's so polite and he respect everybody. MP Ricky, MP Ramsarup. He would
Yeah.
never call me MP Ricky, MP Ramsarup.
And Sir Ramsur.
And then he will go, he shows everybody the respect. And, I really wanted to appreciate, and may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
May Allah bless him internally and an eternal life, and have a very peaceful path as he continues that journey.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Randy.
Thank you.
Randy, if I may share one more bit of admin information here.
Go
Tomorrow,
ahead.
the 29th of September, the funeral for Imran, the viewing starts at 11 and closes off at 2. But please take note that the bridge time is 11 to 12:30. So,
Oh, you have to reach over
yes, and
before.
it's a good way to get to Virgin Nugent. So you will have to make that decision. Um, the bridge will be closed at 11 tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And let's give MP Maureen Philadelphia an opportunity to close out. Yes, MP. You might.
Right.
Yes, go ahead. Your mic is on. Go ahead, MP Philadelphia. MP Philadelphia, you hearing us? You hearing us, MP? We give you. We're not hearing you. All right. So let us wrap up. We are encouraging you, of course, to stay tuned to AP and UFC TV as we join Sheriff Duncan in the ring. MP Philadelphia, you hearing? You can go ahead now.
I
Right.
think she probably got some internet
Yeah,
issues. It's
internet
kind of slow
problems.
down
Folks,
there.
we want to say thank you very much to MP Natasha Singh Lewis, MP Dean Ryan Ramsrup, and MP Philadelphia for joining us to the Leader of the Opposition. Thank you very much to Nazima Ragabir for sending her condolences also, and those persons who are sending online in the comments. We thank you very much for your love and prayers as we say goodbye to our comrade. MPs, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Randy.
Right. Mhm. Right. Folks, that was it for our program. We want to say thank you very much for being a part of the program this evening. We join Sheriff Duncan now in the ring. My name is Randolph Critchell. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Do enjoy the rest of the evening. Stay safe. Let's continue to work for national development, folks.